Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon, depending on where you're joining us in the country. Thank you all so much for joining us. We're so excited to have you here for us to talk about our journey to South Africa, where we'll be exploring culture and healthcare that the beautiful country of South Africa has to offer. Joining me today, we have Nicola Balmain, the founder of Nanda Journeys, as well as Evette Wilson, our host of our journey in South Africa. Before we get to our amazing itinerary tonight, just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the logistics and a little bit of housekeeping. Everyone on this webinar is muted. That does not mean we don't want your questions. We absolutely do. So if you want to just click on the Q&A box or just type it into the chat, we will have plenty of time for Q&A at the end of this webinar. So please feel free, if any questions come to mind, type them in the chat. This is also a conversational webinar, so if I do see a question that might pertain to the conversations that we're having, we might toss in your questions throughout the conversations as well. But I assure you that any questions we don't get to during the conversation, we will get to at the end. Also, this webinar is being recorded, so if you do have to step away, or you do have to leave a little early, or you have someone who you want to join, wants to join you on this journey but unable to attend, please know that we will be sending out the recording, so you have the ability to send that out to everyone, to anyone who might not be able to attend. So with that being said, thank you again for joining us. We're so excited to talk to you a little bit about our journey to South Africa coming up on August 14th, 2024. Before we get to the journey and talking a little bit about South Africa, I'd like to introduce my friend and partner, Nicola Balmain here at Nanda Journeys, the founder. Nicola, thank you so much. We get another opportunity to talk about travel, which is our favorite thing to do. So tell us a little bit about Nanda Journeys.
Oh, so good to see you, Michael, and Evette. So lovely to see you too. To be doing another webinar with you is amazing. So I echo Michael's sentiments. Welcome, everybody, wherever you're joining us from, live tonight or on the recording. Welcome to Nanda Journeys. We consider everybody family here, and we do everything with purpose, with passion, and my career has been travel since the age of 17. Started out my career in England, moved to the United States with my family, and I've just really fallen in love with transformative community travel, and the journey that we're going to represent to you today really is the epitome of what I love. It's learning about new cultures, it's giving back, it's engaging in a conversation about topics that you might not have addressed before, and it should be transformative on many levels. So based on the registrants for the webinar, I know some of you are familiar with Nanda Journeys, so thankful for your support, and many of you are new. So again, welcome to the Nanda family. So I want to talk a little bit about the Nanda Way, and Michael very well knows all about the Nanda Way, as does Evette now, because this is our second collaboration. Evette's leaving for India here soon. But the Nanda Way is actually a phrase that has been coined not by us. Michael's magic marketing skills cannot be credited with this one, but we'll give credit where credit's due. And that's to our leaders, our clients, the community partners, and the guides that we've been engaging with for many years. They just kept coming back and telling us that they loved the Nanda Way. I'm like, oh, we kind of love the Nanda Way, but we never thought about it that way. So really everything that we do is designed to be immersive, authentic. Our engagements with you, our conversations with you, the itinerary development is focused around keeping your travel dollars local. So we believe in transformation through travel. And if we can spend the dollars at a hyper-focused level, we can have a really big impact on the community and the people in the community. So by participating in a Nanda journey, you're not only engaging in a transformative professional development journey for yourself, you're really helping a lot of people that you're going to meet along the way. And our itineraries, they're all bespoke, so we don't have a brochure. I can't send you a brochure and allow you to pick from an itinerary, because we've created this itinerary with the wonderful Dr. Evette Wilson, and her professional input has allowed us to create something super special.
Yeah. And speaking of that, these things all make the Nanda Way possible and make traveling with Nanda Journeys so unique. But I would say almost at the top of this list, although it's not here, are our journey hosts, those that take our travelers around the world. And this particular journey is no exception with Dr. Evette Wilson. Tell us a little bit about Evette, and then, Dr. Evette, tell us a little bit about yourself as well. But Nicola, tell us who our journey host is.
Well, if you don't know Evette, you really do need to get to know her, and you can do that in many different ways that we'll chat about, whether you join us on this amazing journey or not. Evette is the professor of nursing at Arizona College, the Las Vegas campus, but she's also a certified team leader, executive coach with Maxwell. She's passionate about supporting people in leadership and healthcare. She's a fabulous public speaker. I can't wait for her to be able to talk a lot more than me here very, very soon. And she's very passionate. I can hear you. And she's really passionate about traveling and learning about new cultures. As I mentioned, Evette's off to India with a Nanda Journeys group here in a few weeks. And we're so excited for South Africa. Evette, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited. As Nicholas says, this is going to be our second collaboration. I have actually been in the healthcare industry for, this is my 30, I can't believe this is my 30th year. And so I'm feeling a little old, but I joined the military as a critical care air transport nurse, and that kind of got me the traveling bug as they kind of sent me around the world. And after I got out, I just, wanted to continue. And when I found Nanda Journeys, it was just an amazing way to put a passion with something that I already wanted to do, but also meet the needs that I had for my professional development and career goals. And so it has just been, it's just been really great working with Nanda. As Nicholas says, I work at the Arizona College of Nursing. We're a BSN program here, so we really focus on preparing our future nurses. And as a leadership executive coach, I work in the healthcare industry with a lot of different hospitals and organizations developing leaders. And then I have my own company, which we focus on well-being and leadership. So for me, I love networking, love being with people. And so this is an amazing way to really get to do both of those. So Nicola, you guys are really helping to help fill one of my passions, or many of my passions, I should say.
Well, we are travel for people with purpose and passion. So we found each other, and it was meant to be. So, again, thank you so much. The fact that this journey has been designed to support many professions within the healthcare industry, and we'll talk to that in a little bit too. And tell us a little bit about that picture on the right-hand side. Where are you there?
Now that was my last journey that I did. It was in Thailand. And actually, this particular one, unlike this one where we're taking a interprofessional, this one was specifically nursing students. And a lot of them, this was their first time out of the country. So I was really excited to, one, be able to share that experience with them. But we were in Thailand, and we actually was touring. I want to say that is the Bangkok hospital. We were touring one of the acute care hospitals there. We had a panel of professionals there that gave us an amazing opportunity to really learn about their nursing program, how they train their nurses, how the nursing in the U.S. differed from us. So it was a really opportunity for them to really engage with their peers and really begin to start networking on a global level.
That's awesome. And that's, something we focus on when we go through our mission and vision and learning outcome conversation, which we had a long time ago now, it feels like. But all of that is designed to ensure that we really encapsulate things that are important for the professional side of the experience, but also that cultural learning, right? So we incorporate the peer engagement, the opportunity to network with people, not just in South Africa, but with peers from across the US. And again, with this being an interprofessional delegation, you're going to be able to collaborate and create these wonderful learning connections. I call it networking on steroids. Has been something that seems to fit, because I've had the great opportunity to be on a lot of these delegations, and being with somebody 24/7 over your meals and everything, the learning and the power of learning, it's all day long, and it's just fantastic. And there's a financial element to it in terms of your investment as well. Your expenses, they may be deductible as a reasonable and necessary business expense, because it is very much designed to be a professional development program.
Absolutely. And a lot of these different nurses and colleagues that we meet with there, we stay in contact. We even it's been a couple of years now, but we still stay in contact, collaborations and partnerships. We've attempted to began to work with some of them on some long-term projects and things like that. So it is an opportunity for you to reach. And a lot of individuals who may even have research opportunities. This may be a great opportunity to learn about different opportunities. And if you're looking for long-term programs, be able to collaborate on a global level for that opportunity. So it just gives you that opportunity to broaden and enlarge your network on the international level.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's why we love it.
Wow. So let's get into South Africa. But before we do, I have noticed that we have had a few attendees join us a little bit late after we did all of our housekeeping. So just one quick thing again, everybody on the webinar is muted, but we do want your questions. We're going to get into a lot of details here in the itinerary, so please send your questions along by clicking on the chat box or the Q&A box. We'll be checking that throughout our conversation and infusing your questions throughout our discussion. If we can't get to your question during the conversation, we will definitely be adding those questions in time for the end. Also, we are recording, so if you do have to step away, you joined a little late, you missed something in the beginning, please know that we'll be sending out the recording after this, so that way you can see anything that you missed. So without further ado, talking about South Africa, August 14th to the 25th, 12 days, 11 nights, featuring 21 meals. We depart for South Africa before spending 3 nights in Johannesburg. After that, we go up north to Johannesburg. We spend 2 evenings there, and then we fly south to Cape Town, where we finalize our 4 final evenings. What I love about this itinerary is it's slow paced, it's slow moving. You're not one night anywhere. We all see those itineraries. I call them pajama tours, where you might as well just stay in your pajamas because you're one night here, one night there, one night here. This itinerary gives you plenty of time to delve into the itinerary, into the destination and into the culture throughout the entire journey. The first evening will be spent on a plane, so we'll be departing for South Africa. So that first flight, you'll depart the local city in the evening, landing in South Africa about late morning, early afternoon. Because of the jet lag and the changing of the times, we don't have anything well prepared or planned, and no city tours. We want to get you accustomed to the local culture. We want you to be able to be rested and relaxed for our first evening, because that first evening is a very special evening. It's something that we like to call our welcome dinner. I love the first evening. It's something that's very special for me because you see these new relationships start to grow and start to come together, these new connections. I always say at the welcome dinner, you're trying to encourage conversations. By 2 or 3 days in, you want to stop the conversation so you can tell them what's going on. So these friendships really start to bud right from the beginning. So, Nicola, Evette, I mean, tell me your experiences with those first evening dinners and kind of what you see happening.
My last one in Thailand, that was probably my favorite part of the trip. And our host, actually, it was in his home. It was a traditional Thailand. So, even though I had bad knees, I had to get down low on the ground there. But everything was traditional, and it truly was an authentic experience. And you were you felt as if you were part of the family. And they brought a traditional dance group in, where we actually had to learn to do some of the customs and the traditions. And so, a lot of us worry about, okay, am I going to do something wrong to offend, individuals in the other country? That was part of that welcoming dinner, and that welcoming opportunity was for us to learn about the customs and the traditions and what to do, what not to do, the proper things. And so it really just set us off on a great first day. I just felt that was probably the best, and the food was amazing.
Yeah, the food's always my favorite, and we really it's an integral part of our planning too. We focus a lot on the menus and make sure that we have introduced you to as many cultures and the diverse foods. The welcome dinner, it's my favorite just because people are a little shy getting to know each other. Some people are traveling with people they know. Some people are coming for the first time. But the Nanda way fosters the Nanda family, and the group chats, they go on for years. I still have people telling me that they're relaying this information that they just found out about Ireland or South Africa or wherever they've been. So it's a real settling opportunity for everybody to get to know know each other. And Michael, I did just want to mention that we're planning to leave probably from Newark for this itinerary as the group flight. But we can accommodate people from across the US, of course, and we always work with everybody on a one-on-one basis to make sure that the flight itinerary that's ultimately decided upon works well with your home airport. And if not, we help you to configure a plan that makes the most sense for you as a delegate.
Awesome. Great. Yeah, so the welcome dinner, everybody gets there. We have this amazing welcome dinner. We get rested and relaxed because the next day we get right into our professional development. After our orientation briefing in the morning, where you get a chance to meet your local host, your local guide, and learn about the current info on South Africa, their economy, everything that's society, background on the history. Immediately following that, we get out into the local community and start our professional development. Tell us a little bit about some of the professional development, what to kind of expect. I know that we haven't necessarily done it in South Africa, Evette, but tell me kind of what that professional development has looked like in your travel experience in the past.
Yeah, usually when we set up to have the individuals, and again, the last couple ones that I went to, the organizations on that end really set it up so that you're welcome. They have a panel, they invite different departments, professions. This is where I always say, if you have specific questions and things that you want, this is like, come with your little list of prepared questions, because this is a great opportunity to ask those different ones. We talked a lot in panel discussions about different global health trends that they were having. We got to tour the hospital, the different departments, the patient units. This was in this particular in hospitals. We did it on all different levels. We went from tribal level to some of the clinics to the opioids. They have a addiction, and HIV is one of their huge global health issues. And so we were able to visit some of those clinics, discuss some of the research that was going on, different policies. This is where you can get to look at some of the best practices and things that are going on, things that you want to or not bring back. For us, this is a great opportunity. I love looking at the technology. I'm always wondering, and this was one when I was there at Thailand, it's like, wow, they do have a lot of the things that we have. It might be a little older equipment, but these are questions and things that you wonder as a professional. How are they managing the things? I know for me, I'm super excited because I think as a country, we all just went through COVID. So I want to know how they're dealing with COVID and what lessons they've learned from those different things. So this is where you can, interact with professionals at the same level and really try to discuss some of those different issues and things and bring them back to your home country.
Yeah, that's always, this is always such an exciting part for me. I learn something new every time we put a professional development journey together. And there are a few pillars that we really focus on, which is trying to get you into a clinical environment, be it a hospital or a clinic, in a rural and an urban setting. And that's something that you will be able to do in South Africa, but also to hear from an association leader or a community leader, a nonprofit leader, so that you get a holistic kind of perspective about healthcare in the country. So university visits, clinical visits, association visits, all of those are developed and honed as we go. And the reason we don't lock it in tight is because we want to make sure that we're meeting the needs and goals of the final delegates that choose to join us on this journey. So you'll be asked for your bio and your professional background and your discussion topics so that we can shape the final program to be perfect for everybody who's going to participate with you, Evette. And there's some things that we've already established, of course, but the fluidity of it is really important because the learning outcomes, they're critical, right? So we want to make sure that everybody gets what they want out of the professional development side of the journey.
Absolutely. One of the other things,
and some of that professional development is actually meeting with local experts. And then one of the special local experts that we might have a chance to meet with is Ms. Mose, who's actually the founder of Africa Ikalafe. We have a chance after lunch to have a conversation with her, and in her experience and her as a health professional here in South Africa. She had a career as a local nurse, a midwife. She's a very well-respected lecturer here in South Africa and has experience in social science research, community development. She's authored 6 books, as well as a collection of essays. I mean, her resume goes on and on and on in regards to the things that she's done and the knowledge that we will get from this amazing conversation. Anything that I'm missing here, Nicola, that we can kind of talk about or include in this conversation with her?
I think the additional learning opportunity in addition to her background in healthcare is she is very well renowned amongst the indigenous cultures and the tribal leaders in her community as well. So her mom is an indigenous healer, so you'll get to hear all about that from her as well. But she really is the keeper of tribal lands. So the culture healthcare infusion of this conversation, I think, is going to be really powerful. So learning about the history of South Africa and the cultural needs and how they need to be met in this modern day South Africa with modern medicine and how the two combine. I think that's an important conversation and one that I think interests a lot of people here in the United States today as we start to transit. I don't know how you feel, Evette, but I think there's a lot of transition in that conversation around traditional medicine and kind of the old ways and how we merge them together. And this should be powerful for that.
Yes, and that's where I was wondering, she would probably be able to speak to especially at the tribal level, the different alternative medicines that are out there, and how they deal with those. So that is something I would definitely love to learn more about, because I think there's so much power in traditional medicine, but modern, and then again, how do we use those together? And again, we have our country is so diverse. We have a lot of people that come from different countries. This gives us that opportunity. How can we use this in our own healthcare? We know about their traditional methods and ways. How can we use that to provide patient-centered care?
Totally. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. And in the idea of making this a conversation, I think getting to our first question from one of our viewers, they asked the question about continuing education credits. Does this particular itinerary offer those travelers, those that are here for the professional engagement, continuing education credits?
Yes, so I will be personally offering 8 to 10 hours continuing education that is certified from the Nevada State Board of Nursing. And I think Nicola says if we, depending on our participants, there are possibilities for other certifications. Nicola, I'll let you speak to that.
Yeah, so we'll definitely have the NCPD credits. Thank you for your help with that, Evette. And then if we have, I know there were a lot of people that have shown interest that may be interested in CME credits. Depending again on how many participants and in which field of healthcare they are focused, there is a potential that we could get CME credits for this journey as well. There may be an additional cost for the CME credits, especially if there's only 1 or 2 people, but that's something we can explore, and we'll revisit that with people on a one-on-one conversation as we finalize the participants, as you say. But the nursing credits are already taken care of, and we appreciate that, Evette. Thank you.
Yeah, great question. Thank you for the answer. And again, in this vein of conversation, please, if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask. We'll be getting to them through the rest of our conversation. But while we're doing the professional development, that means there's also the opportunity for the the guests who are coming along for the journey and to experience the amazing culture of South Africa, to experience even more culture. While everyone is off doing the professional development, those that are guests have the chance to have a Johannesburg city experience. They'll explore some of the highlights of the city, visiting the Origin Center and the Constitution Hall. And in the Origin Center, we track the development and the amazing journey of humankind through the vein of Africa as a whole. So that's something that I really like. I don't know if we touched upon it up until now, but the idea that although this is a professional discovery, a professional engagement journey, we are encouraging our delegates to bring a guest, because there is something for everyone. While the professional engagement is happening, there are other opportunities for the guests to continue on in their cultural immersion and cultural exchange. Isn't that correct, Nicola?
Yeah, absolutely. And we do encourage it. And a lot of the program is still you participating together. You'll see in the day-by-day itinerary that part of the program, about 50% of the program is professional development. And then about 50% of the program is more cultural immersion, that you're all traveling together. So this is a great way to travel with people that are, like-minded, and you're going to have, the reason we have this wonderful Nanda family is we just attract people that really love to travel in this way. So you immediately coalesce as a group. It's really powerful. So yeah, your guests will have privately guided experiences as well. I think that's important to note, is that you will have your own guide for the afternoons or the days where you're doing something different. And the Origin Center, your professional members are going to be picking your brains about this, and we like to include everything for everybody, but not possible. But the Origin Center is amazing. The cradle of humankind, South Africa, and then Constitution Hill. Given the very dark past, you'll learn a lot about the challenges that South Africa's faced and how they've come to the modern day South Africa that you'll see, and how they continue to honor that and have those conversations. So it's be a great, well-rounded experience.
And that's a great transition into our day 4, where we'll actually experience some of, learn about apartheid in the museum. We start the day at the museum. This museum is likened very much so to the Holocaust Museum, which is located in DC, but it takes you into the beating heart of the struggle for freedom from apartheid. We start as a group. Nicola had mentioned many of what we're doing is as a whole, not necessarily professionals and guests, but in this particular day, we get a chance to start the day at the museum. And from there, we travel to the southwestern township, or Soweto. After lunch, we do travel to Soweto, which is the heart of the freedom struggle. We pay a visit to Freedom Square, a place where the Freedom Charter was adopted and is the guiding document of the Congress Alliance. After our stop at Southwestern Township in Soweto, we have our dinner. And this dinner is an opportunity for closer cultural exchange. For a fireside chat, we discuss the Nguni people, an opportunity to meet with local people, discuss the diverse culture, language, and people. I think one of the things that I love about travel so much is the fact that meeting with the locals, oftentimes I have to go off on my own to do that, because a lot of the travel that I do is with big groups, and so I have to go off on my own to try and meet local people. We try and infuse that within this itinerary, which is what I love so much about it. It's giving you the opportunity to have these one-on-one conversations and meet these people one-on-one, which I think is so important and impactful, and a big part of Nanda Journeys, isn't it, Nicola?
It sure is. And this location, if you're researching online or looking at the itinerary and you pull up Lebo, Soweto, you're gonna be like, Nanda Journeys, what are you doing? This is a backpacker location. It's a hostel. Yes, it is. You're absolutely right. But you're not staying there. You're not sleeping. But it's the beating heart of Soweto, and the music and the conversations and the clothing that people wear. We just had a group of high school students actually do a similar experience here at this location. The energy was off the charts. It was just unbelievable, because you really are getting to the heart of the culture. That's what we're taking you several thousand miles to do, is to learn about a new culture. So the Nguni people, you'll learn about their language, their culture. There's 11 official languages in South Africa. And this is a conversation that you'll have to start learning some of those languages, the Nguni people. And, their traditional dress is worn more ceremonial style. Some of them might be wearing the traditional dress, but again, you'll see how they've modernized into the current day while still honing and protecting and preserving their local culture.
Is an amazing culture in and of itself, and one of the most beautiful in the entire world. The following day is the opportunity to do a bucket list thing. And one of the reasons why many people travel to the country of Africa, or the continent of Africa, the country of South Africa. On day 4 or 5, we say goodbye to Johannesburg and drive 2 hours north to Johannesburg, which is the game reserve where we'll be spending the 2 evenings in hunt of the big 5. And the most of large other animals in South Africa that are represented in the park. And I know we talked about this yesterday during our test, but Evette, I'm gonna test you here. I didn't want to put it out there right away, but the big 5, we had talked about it briefly yesterday. Can you tell us the big 5 animals in Africa that people go and hunt of?
Yes. Lions,
Yep.
Giraffes, zebras. No.
Nope.
Rhino.
Mm-hmm. The rhino. Yep.
Can you help her at all, Nicola? Not to put. I'm sorry.
Cheetah. You said something about cheetah. I remember cheetah.
No, no cheetahs.
I'm messing it all up today.
Oh no, this is why you're going to South Africa, Evette.
Elephants,
Exactly.
elephants.
Yes.
Elephants. Yeah. Nicola, can you? You got
Yes.
2. Nicola, do you have the other 3? I know you've been to South
Um,
Africa, so you probably do, but I'm putting you on the spot here.
The leopard.
No snakes.
Yeah,
Leopard.
well, the leopard. You might have to close your eyes a couple times, Evette. The leopard and the buffalo and the rhino, right? The elusive leopard.
There you go. That's the big 5. So you have the lion, the elephant, the water buffalo, the rhino, and the hardest to find of all of them, the leopard. So,
well, our group that was just there, they saw 3. Go ahead, Evette. What was that?
sorry.
I said cheetah. That's kind of close to leopard.
Yes,
Get some credit.
Yeah, they look
absolutely.
they look similar.
So this afternoon is our first chance to get out there and explore the amazing wildlife that South Africa is so well known for. On our first open air safari, over 7,000 animals call Johannesburg home as we hunt for the big 5. After our safari, we head back to our lodge for the night, which will be our home for the next 2 evenings. This is actually a picture from the lodge that we'll be staying at. So this is where you'll be staying. Our hotel for our stay in Johannesburg. I know, Nicola, you've spent time at this particular lodge, or you're very familiar with the particular lodge. Tell us a little bit about your experience at night out there in the safari, in between game drives.
It's one of the, I'm very fortunate to have been to, over 50 countries. And one of the memories that will live with me forever is the night sky in the bush in South Africa. And I looked up at the sky, and it literally it's sparkling. It is sparkling, and it looks so different, and I couldn't figure it out. And I felt so foolish, because I'm like, the reason it looks so amazing is I've never seen it before. It's my first time in the Southern Hemisphere. So the night sky, of course, is completely different. And I was looking for all of my usual pointers, the constellations that we see here in the Northern Hemisphere. It's truly amazing. And we've had financial planners group stay here and have the most amazing experience. And Johannesburg is purposefully chosen because it's so close to Johannesburg, just a couple of hours drive, versus Kruger, that some people might be saying, well, why are we not going to Kruger? Kruger's an amazing park as well. It just gets most of the media attention. But Johannesburg is still one of the 3 largest parks, and there's many of them in South Africa. But it's malaria free. So that's another reason we really enjoy Johannesburg. Has the big 5. It has all the other amazing animals. Your animal sighting's going to be spectacular, but it is malaria free, and Kruger is not. Not to say that Kruger isn't worth a visit. It totally is, but it's just one of those differentiating factors.
Interesting. I think that's a big differentiating factor for a lot of travelers who definitely want to have that peace of mind, knowing that they don't have to take, the malaria pills or anything else throughout the trip. So after our stay at the lodge, we get a chance to do a game drive in the morning, which is going to be a different and unique experience. In the afternoon, it's hot. A lot of the animals are tired. They're staying in the shade. But in the morning, when it's cool, they tend to be a little more active, prefer to feed during the cooler temperatures, and go out into out and be more active. So hopefully we'll see a lot more activity from our open vehicle during this game drive. After our morning game drive, we get a chance. There's the leopard for you. I want to go back. There's the leopard for you. That looks like a leopard, not a cheetah, Evette. That's the hardest of the big 5. You can grab a picture like this.
Yeah, hard to differentiate, though, I have to say.
Yeah, definitely. After our morning game drive, we get a chance to go to Tapalogo, which is a very unique organization in and of itself. Nicola has added them into the itinerary for a particular reason. Tell us a little bit about Tapalogo, Nicola.
Yeah, we spoke earlier about really honing in on healthcare in urban settings and rural settings. And as this is very close, of course, to Johannesburg and in a rural area, this is a fabulous nonprofit that provides healthcare services to some of the poorest people in the country, very challenged socially, economically, and culturally diverse as well. And they really started back during the HIV/AIDS crisis. And today, of course, they're providing services that still support that, but they've made huge headway, which is something else that you're going to learn about while you're there. But they provide care for tuberculosis, and you'll be able to have a conversation with them about how different is it providing healthcare and what challenges do they face that they don't face in the urban city environments of Johannesburg and Cape Town. So they're a fantastic NGO. That's why we want to incorporate them, but also the learning and the conversation opportunity is going to be really profound here. And typically in these kind of meetings, there is some kind of connection made by one of the delegates. You were saying earlier, Evette, like somebody might find an opportunity to augment their research paper, or to provide internship from their university, or provide tools and resources that this particular healthcare facility doesn't have. Those are the tangible elements that we don't record because they naturally happen. And that's another reason these engagements are so profound. In Peru, a healthcare group, they took these pediatric cuffs to a rural community in the Sacred Valley. So we will let you know ahead of time if there is a need for this particular community. There is no expectation you have to deliver on it, but if you can, great. That's one of the reasons we facilitate these exchanges.
Love it.
And this is a visit for all delegates, right? And their guests. This isn't just a professional visit. Perfect.
Exactly.
So everybody gets a chance to
be
explore
really profound culturally, from that NGO nonprofit perspective, and hearing about the great work that they're doing.
Fantastic. Following our stop, we have dinner at the lodge, our final evening in the lodge. The following morning, we wake up for our final game drive. Any of those big five that we may have missed, this is our final chance to grab them with our cameras, but also to take in one final look of the beautiful South African safari. After our final game drive, we take a flight to the beautiful city of Cape Town, which is the oldest point in Southern Africa, regularly heralded as one of the most beautiful cities on earth. It's tucked into the arm of Broad Bay and surrounded by white sand beaches. It has a very Mediterranean-looking feel, and it was the first place that European settlers settled in South Africa. Today, we get settled into our hotel and get used to our surroundings before exploring this afternoon on our own before included dinner at our hotel. So after this day of traveling to Cape Town, getting surrounded with our experiences, we spend the evening in our hotel, and the following day, we are going out to Robben Island, a beautiful island off the coast of Cape Town. I must mention that if weather permits, that's when we will go out to Robben Island. But Nelson Mandela has described this island as the harshest, most iron-fisted outpost in the South African penal system, and has become an international system of the triumph of the human spirit. Robben Island is a living museum and a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a reminder of the past and symbol of hope for the future. And when we talk about UNESCO and World Heritage Sites, I mean, can you tell us a little bit about what UNESCO is, Nicola, and kind of what they do around the world in terms of some of these World Heritage Sites? Actually, do you know what UNESCO stands for? I think you do. I think we've had this conversation before.
I don't.
You don't?
Not off the top of my head right now. I mean, the most important thing is they're preserving culture, right? They're preserving culture, they're preserving heritage. And again, that it goes to what we are trying to do here at Nanda is in support of learning, in support of preservation. All of that's really important. And knowledge, whether it be in your profession, your everyday healthcare journey, knowledge and the continuum of learning is the most important thing I think we can all do, is continue to engage, learn, and hopefully reflect and change based on those learnings. So a couple of profound experiences here in South Africa for you both.
Yeah. So actually another one experience, a UNESCO experience on this day is Table Mountain, which can be seen throughout all of South Africa, of Cape Town. And we get a chance to ascend via cable car or a revolving aerial cable car up to the top of the mountain, which I mentioned is another UNESCO World Heritage Site, which UNESCO stands for United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. For those of you, a little tidbit of information there.
Yeah, Michael, yay!
Double thumbs up. But at the top of this mountain, It offers stunning views of the entire Cape Peninsula, and it's a great way for us to get some amazing photos of the area that we'll be spending the next few days in. So a great cultural exchange happens not only on Robben Island, but at the top of Table Mountain as we get to the top there. On day 9, we get a chance to visit more professional exchanges and in Cape Town and the University of Cape Town. And again, this is something that I know we mentioned it a lot, but it's such a big part of this experience is that professional exchange. This day is set aside specifically for that. So, Evette, give us a little bit more insight. I know, Nicola, you can talk a little bit about what we'll experience, at the University of Cape Town or a similar university and local hospital. But Evette, tell us a little bit more about some of your experiences with these professional exchanges on some of your itineraries and journeys.
I think, like you said, I think the biggest one is just that opportunity to just learn from each other. Not only the culture, but one of the things that sticks out that I was able to really take a appreciation that I wouldn't have, I don't think, any other way, is when we went to my experience at Thailand. When we visited the hospital, but we noticed a lot of the families and things were sleeping up under the beds in the patient rooms. And traditionally, as the nurse was explaining to us, in Thailand, it is the expectation that the families are the providers and taking care of them in their hospitals. So looking at that from a cultural perspective, I never would have thought that. In the U.S., we have our visitors, they go home at a certain time, but it explains a lot of why maybe that culture is wanting to stay with the patients all the time, while we're always, trying to get them out before certain times. That is a perspective that I never would have been able to see or either understand until, without having to actually see it. So I think it just gives us that global perspective of not only patients, but the providers. What is the same in the U.S.? What's different? Those interactions are I think the biggest thing that I've just taken out of that is just understanding cultures and really being sensitive. Cultural diversity is so huge, and we have such a melting pot, but it's just having that sensitivity to different cultures, learning about the traditions and why people do what they do and how it affects us on the other end is the biggest thing I think those exchanges have helped me with. Along with all my wonderful professional friends, networks, colleagues, peers that I stay in contact with, it's just been a great network of colleagues and opportunities. It widens opportunities. And just in conversations, talking on the buses, not even with that country, but hopefully as our guests, I see that we have a lot of different professions and different disciplines on there. Hopefully you're going to network with each other and be able to hopefully have an opportunity to collaborate and partner on things. So that is what I think the whole experience of the professional exchanges, not just necessarily in that country, but us with each other as we're traveling there and learning to connect and build some new relationships.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know we featured some wonderful pictures from Thailand, and because we wanted to kind of show people, your experience traveling. In India, you'll have a lot more coming up here soon. But in South Africa, we've had a partnership, and I think this is important to convey. The partnership that we've had with the local partner spans over 20 years. So we're actually into the second generation relationship with the people that we work with down there, and they're amazing. You'll meet Kira, she'll give you a South Africa briefing, and they've done programs for us across the healthcare gamut, but library services, financial services. And I say that to highlight they're able to get meetings and opportunities to meet with professionals in such diverse backgrounds, but at the highest level. And not just at the highest level because we want to meet with people at the highest level, is because they're passionate about what they do. And in Cape Town, we'll finalize, a university meeting or a clinic or an association meeting maybe. Again, that final exchange will be tailored around our delegates to make sure that we have the most profound impact possible and your learning is as powerful as it possibly can be. But you're in great hands in South Africa, one of our most valued partnerships. Yeah, I can't wait for you to meet Kira and her team.
Yeah, and that insight in regards to Thailand and the visiting hours of that, like that is the exact reason why this kind of exchange is so important. And what I love about this professional exchange, the idea of, visiting hours and how it can help you to view things in a different light. But guests, don't worry, we have something for them as well. And even, for those of you that are big wine fans, South Africa is very well known for their wine culture and the great wines that come out of Cape Town in South Africa. Is very well known. During our tour, we get a chance to visit the vineyards, we get a chance to taste the wines. Lunch is provided for the guests. So while we're off doing our professional exchange, all the guests, I know that there are a few of you listening today, maybe listening, next to your husband or your wife or your partner, wondering what's in it for me. This is what's in it for you while they're off doing their professional exchange. So this is going to be a great day, not only for the professionals, but for the guests as well. After our professional day, we all come together in the evening, and the next day we travel south to the Cape Point and the Cape of Good Hope. Cape of Good Hope is the most southern point in Africa. It's one of the most well-known and most visited sites in all of South Africa, and is located in Table Mountain National Park. It is very well known for its lush flora and fauna throughout the area. And this is, I know we've been visiting locals throughout their entire journey, but on Boulders Beach is when we really get a chance to meet the locals and spend some time with penguins. And there are very few places in the world, you can see from this image, where you get a chance to get this close to penguins in the wild. So this is an amazing day filled with a great way to cap off our journey going to Cape Town. With our last day, we stop at the Botanical Gardens on the way back, and almost as much fun as the welcome dinner is what we like to call it as a farewell dinner. It's one of those things. I always say it's bittersweet, right? By the first night, nobody's really talking. The last night, everybody's talking. They're exchanging pictures. You're ready to sleep in your own bed almost. But at the same time, it's sad to say goodbye to the friends that you've made along the way. I always like to say you bring your old friends with you and you make new friends along the way. And I know that to be true in all of Nanda journeys. So the farewell journey, tell us a little bit about that unique spirit experience, Evette, and the things that you experienced in Thailand, and kind of that farewell dinner and how much it means.
Yeah, like you said, by the time you get there, you're probably going to be tired of eating food. You want a hamburger. At least that was that was me. I wanted a hamburger so bad. But again, like you said, you make you're getting to know people. You're building, and like I said, I still have lifelong friends that I'm in contact with now. And you came in as strangers, but you truly leave as family. Especially in any of you who are sharing rooms with each other, you're going to really get to know each other on a whole personal level. But just in all honesty, it's just it's going to be sad. It's just like you're leaving your family. And
Yeah.
so, but the picture, we love taking pictures, and I am a picture holic, so I am. Most of you probably are the same, but you're exchanging those last photos, and as you look at those, and every year, I love Facebook because every year it brings up that picture and says, oh yeah, 2 years ago this is what you were doing, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, this is my travel buddies from Thailand or wherever we just came from, and it is just you go back, and you're creating those long lasting memories that you're just gonna never forget. And hopefully, again, you guys are going to stay in contact with each other.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, you're right back in that place. You see those pictures. It's funny. It's funny for those of you that have iPhones, how quickly people learn how to use AirDrop at the farewell dinner in terms of like exchanging photos. Like if you don't know what AirDrop is now at the farewell dinner, trust me, you'll know. People will show you how to use it because you'll be sending pictures to each other
It's
throughout the
funny
entire evening.
you were saying about the hamburger. It's funny. I have this conversation with Kara in South Africa on an annual basis when we're designing our South Africa program. She said, should we put the Hard Rock Cafe in there? I'm like, no, absolutely not. No. And she snuck it in on me once. I'm like, Kara, no, they can wait an extra day for their hamburger. It's no big deal. We're cultural immersion. The Nanda way is not hamburgers. Sorry.
No, and it was like you say, the food is great. I think for me, though, I love Asian food, but that was the longest. When you're there for 14 days, that's the longest that you are eating, and it's like, okay, I'm ready now.
Well, the nice thing about South Africa is it, in of itself, it has such a multicultural, diverse cuisine, right? So some of it will be familiar, some of it won't be familiar. So the opportunity for us to make it, like some countries, it's really challenging to get diversity in your meals. You know, it's like, oh, we're having chicken again, you know, or, but in South Africa, it's so easy to create meals that are really diverse. And at the welcome and farewell dinner, it's a 3-course meal. It's a really, it's a great meal. You know, good food, a glass of beer or glass of wine. So, you know, we try to really take care of you and make sure the ambiance is in keeping with the culture and everything as well. So yeah, the meals are part of the journey. The food part of the journey is always a big thing for me, and I know for others too.
Yeah, and I was going to say, if you are a foodie, you know, like my husband, he loves to watch the Food Channel and all, you know, the different how to cook. But one of the things that I think was the most enjoyable too is going to a different country. We went through the market, you know, and we actually had a cooking class and did that piece. But I learned about different foods and fruits I've never even heard of, you know, or different ways to use our fish or meats that you probably wouldn't have thought to include in a diet or include in different you know, cooking things, but different ways to prepare for it. And it was just a great experience because again, you are growing, you're learning, and you're, you know, you're just stepping out your comfort zone and you're trying new things. And I think that's probably one of the best part of the trips.
The amazing food you eat. I mean, the cheeseburger tastes all that much better when you get home, but it's the food along the way that makes the journey worth it
Absolutely.
as well. Um, on days 11 and 12, we travel back home to end our journey. So we bid farewell. We spend the morning in Cape Town before flying home and arriving back the following afternoon. So with that being said, that brings our journey to an end. So for those of you that are interested in joining us, the cost of the itinerary is $5,499 per person. That is land and air, as Nicola had mentioned, out of the New York City, LaGuardia, that area. If you are traveling as a single, there's a $999 single supplement, but those spaces and rooms are limited. So if you are looking for a roommate, please let Nicola know. She's able to hopefully accommodate that as well. If you're looking to hold your spot, is $500 per person. That deposit holds your spot and is fully refundable up until March 17th, minus a $95 service fee. So what I always tell people is these are small groups. I don't think we've mentioned the fact that, you know, we try and limit the size of the groups to kind of keep that more intimate feel for our experiences. So these small groups tend to fill out quickly. We had over 20 people register for this webinar this evening. We limit our attendees to, or we try to limit our attendees on these itineraries to 20 people. I look at 20 people registered, and I think there are maybe 1.5 people per registrant because they might be registering for them and a guest. So you're looking at a lot of people who are interested already in this journey. So I just recommend that if you're interested in joining us, please put your deposit down because we love to say, yes, you're approved to join us. And we don't like saying, unfortunately, there's a wait list. So if you're interested, better to have the seat and not need it than need the seat and not have it. And we are so excited to have you join us in Africa in 2024. If you do have any questions, please, like Ed mentioned, open up that question and answer tab. Feel free to throw answers into the chat. Any questions about the itinerary, about the destination, about the professional exchange. We do have one kind of right off of the gate in terms of, you had mentioned malaria in Johannesburg, Nicola. In terms of any other vaccinations, are there any vaccinations that the travelers are required to get or needed before they travel on this experience or on this journey?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. Thank you for asking it. There were no required vaccinations. And even malaria, if we're going, say, to Kruger, that is optional also. Some African countries require yellow fever. South Africa does not. So there were no required vaccinations. We do encourage you, obviously, to meet with your primary care provider to make sure you're up to date on all the regular vaccinations that we're all required to have. And also just have a conversation with them about where you're at with that, but no required vaccinations or medications required.
Fantastic. We do have another question. Let me click on it here. Someone is saying that they missed the beginning of this presentation, but is this just for licensed professionals or are nursing students able to join as well?
all are welcome, right? This is a learning opportunity for everybody. So regardless of where you are with your healthcare journey, yeah, please feel free to join us. In fact, I think some of the most valuable experiences that I've had the pleasure of witnessing is when somebody is a student and they join the professional delegates, because that peer engagement and the mentoring that you get from that. But the learning's two-way, right? We always think, okay, the student's going to have a mentor and the mentor's going to teach them. No, there's so much learning and profound learning that happens from the student to the experienced members of the delegation. So if you are able to join us, it would definitely add a lot of value to the delegates as a whole.
Great. The next question is in regards to the weather. And what to expect in terms of traveling in August to South Africa.
Yeah, so obviously it's Southern Hemisphere, so it's the flip side of the seasons. So we're in our summer, so they're in their winter season. So it can be chilly in the mornings. You should enjoy nice weather. You may get occasional rain. Shouldn't really get too much rain, but your mornings and your evenings are going to be chilly, so you're going to want to take layers, especially for that safari. So you're definitely going to want to layer up for that. But during the day, you should enjoy pleasant temperatures, in high 60s. I would say a little bit warmer in Cape Town is the Mediterranean climate. But yeah, it's their winter. So you're not going to be baking hot, which we avoid that at all costs. We don't want to be terribly uncomfortable. Perfect time to travel.
Great. Awesome. It doesn't look like we have any other questions on the docket right now. Obviously, if you have any further questions or for any more information, you can always visit nandajourneys.com, send an email to the team at Nanda Journeys at info@nandajourneys.com. Also, Evette, I'm sure would be happy to answer any questions. If you know Evette and you're here because Evette invited you, I'm sure she'll be happy to answer any questions. And with that, I'll leave the final words. Any last final words that you want to leave the attendees with today, Evette?
If you're looking to step outside of your comfort zone and do something with some amazing people, and then this is definitely the journey for you. I invite each and every one of you to come and, let's make some new friends. So I'm excited. I hope to see you there and hope you'll join us.
Awesome. And Nicola, any last words? Not last word, that's a bad way to put it. Any final words for our attendees?
No, I just want to thank you and Evette both for being here to talk about this wonderful journey to South Africa. And if you were here or listening on the recording of the webinar, again, welcome to the Nanda family. Whether you choose to join us on this journey to South Africa or not, you're part of the family. If you have travel questions or inquiries, reach out. We love to talk travel, and there won't be any hard sales push from our end. So be in touch. We'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nicola. Thank you so much, Evette. And thank you all so much for joining us this evening, this late afternoon, depending on where you're joining us from. We are so excited to have you join us for this webinar, but we're even more excited to see you in South Africa in August. From all of us at Nanda Journeys, thank you all so much and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, guys.